And I'm recording it over here for the YouTube page. Manzoni in the morning. It's been quite a while, hasn't it? But I'm glad to be back on this Friday to kick some fucking asses and read some fucking poetry, some new shit. Poetry time. Boom. Boom. Hope everyone's having a good Friday. I know it's Friday morning, and that could be a problem for some people. It's the longest time of the week, aside from Monday and possibly Tuesday. Let's get this show on the road. This body will be a corpse. Sooner or later, happens to everybody. It's been quite a while since the last Manzoni in the Morning show. I have since taken up a gig writing for Headline Poetry. That's linewriterpress.com/headline poetry. New poem every week. Awesome. Gotta get some coffee. Haven't had my coffee yet today. Don't talk to me. Actually, you can talk to me. Why? So I've been doing that. I did the North Idaho Lit Crawl. Read some poetry there. I posted some videos from that. For the most part, I've been at home. I get up in the morning, like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I write. I write some shit. There's some crazy new shit. So let's get started with something that's going to piss half of the audience off. A poem about impeachment. All right. Impeachment time. Listen to the toll of bells echoing on the horizon. Heed the words upon the lips of the citizenry. It is no longer just Donald Trump's new experimental Ben & Jerry's flavor. Orange dreamsicle impeach. We tried to give you a chance. Well, some of us did. And you somehow ended up being worse than we thought you would be. No, we don't want you around for another 4 years. But that's what you're going to have to do to avoid the scrutiny of prosecution. As long as you're president, you're 2 steps ahead of the man. The one who has come to make you pay the piper. After all, you spent billions gathering up these rats, the finest, most tremendous rats, from Hamelin all the way to New York and Atlantic City. Thank you very much. Someone please end this presidency and send him on his way. No more tan lines for America. No simple circles around your bulging eyes, where the goggles had settled into your portly face flesh. While you lay there in luxury, thinking about your next move, your next inflammatory tweet. You are not what this country needs. Never was, never will be. Impeach the president. You can be a patriot too, as long as you agree with the balance of power, status quo, and believe none of the hoes that said I was indecent. To be honest, they were dirty, filthy little things to begin with. No, really. Why would I, your president, lie to you? My truth is the only one that matters. So I shall twist it the way I want to. And the only way you'll get me out of office is kicking and screaming. So you had best strap on your best leather gloves, because this piggy is a hard one to catch. Oink, oink. I moved on her like a bitch. we can move on you, too. Move you right out of office. Condemn your actions, condemn your party, your personality. Can't wait until they retire you, your casual racism, sexism, your truckloads of red fucking hats. Send them back to China. Send you back to Russia. Back to wherever the hell you've been building a Trump Tower lately. Perhaps they can rebuild one into a luxury prison for you. And we can watch you, witness you staring out from the penthouse suite top unit, trapped like a rat behind iron bars, trapped for 10 to life on the 99th floor. What will you say then? Who will you blame for your crimes? Anybody but yourself. It's impeachment time. Thank you. Whew. I get worked up on this shit. Thinking about America. Thinking about my American flag shorts. American flag socks. I need an American flag microphone stand. All of it. I need it right now, right here for me. Thank you. Fuck. This shit is fucked up shit. It'll blow my fucking brains out doing this shit. But I love it. I love writing the poetry. I love making these videos. I love doing it all. I don't like uploading the videos. That's a fucking pain in the balls every time. How about that? I'm going to do my poem about Turkey. Because if you don't know already, America did it again. We just turned tail and ran out of Syria and just left our Kurdish allies for the Turkish army to do whatever the fuck they want with. And if you don't know, Turkey is fucked up. I don't know why I have so many followers from Turkey on my Twitter, but I'll tell you what, it has not influenced my writing. I sit there for a minute, I'm thinking, I wonder if this is going to piss off some Turkish people. But you know what? They don't, for the most part, they don't read English, so I think I'm good until someone translates me. This is called Erdogan's Advance. Don't turn your back on your allies. Their cries, they resounded alongside our own on the war-torn Middle Eastern battlefronts. Now they are to be cut short. We are clearing out to make room for Erdogan and his autocratic armies. And they are ready to unleash hell upon the Kurds. They who remained by our side while Assad rained down bombs and missiles, chemical attacks, war crimes, chlorine, sarin, mustard gas. Not the kinds of condiments we want at our global table. We are able to do something, yet we capitulate. And our president continues to confer with Putin, the dastardly dog. Deviant dog. And we are losing. Are we tired of so much winning? Yet the propaganda keeps telling us otherwise. The skies above Syria fill with the coming darkness and advance. Turkish, we are clearing the way to make room for more atrocities. These cities, they will be purged of life, purged of love, purged of hope. We have backpedaled on ourselves, on our own truth. We declared victory upon ISIS, yet it seems that we are the ones who've been vanquished. Why else should we run? We are still in Iraq, in Afghanistan. What's one more Middle Eastern war to us? But who's going to want to trust us? We are turncloaks. Yet we profess our disgust for treacherous figures in our history, such as Benedict Arnold. We hold the world in our hands, but our leader is too foolish and ignorant to fully realize all the implications. 'Tis but a game to he. Where will we be come November 2020? Hopefully at the polls casting our votes. Let us be rid of this joke. It stopped being funny long ago. Who will you follow on this long, winding road? Know that our very souls, they hang in the balance. Well, that's something, huh? Hopefully you learned something about Turkey if you didn't know too much. I try to keep up on all the global affairs because I'm interested in the world and the happenings around thereof. And, I know a lot of Americans feel pride at the less they know about things like, oh, well, I had know so much little about this subject. Come on, that means I'm better, right? I don't know. I'm going to read a poem I wrote for a friend who had just died. He died like a week ago, and it was pretty rough. I stopped kind of talking to that group of friends because of politics, but it takes something like this so devastating to happen to make you realize that we're all on the same team, more or less. It's fucked up. I kept saying to myself, you know what, I'll start talking to him after the end of the Trump presidency. Sorry. But it didn't end up happening. So now here he is, the liberal, the progressive bitch poet on the internet. Gonna read his poem he wrote for the memory of his friend. Sad. But, I try to administer to you the full range of emotions on Manzoni in the morning. I am bipolar, so I go, mostly, and then, all over the fucking place. So, I always kind of feel a thing about shows where they finally get to a tough issue and then they're like, they sidestep it like, oh, we're not going to do that. We're not going to acknowledge that. But you know what? I'm going to acknowledge something, that there's a really fucking bad drug problem in America right now. And I don't know exactly what happened to my friend, but I have my suspicions. And it's probably the same thing that has killed my other friends. Because when this friend died, less than a week later, another one died. I don't know how she died, but I bet it was from drugs. And if it wasn't, I'm sorry. But, yeah. Love you, Pubsy. It's called Pubs. That was his name. Out on the lake, in the mid-October chill of evening, a boat, a barge, floating adrift on the quiescent waves. We gathered all along the shore, watching and listening for what may come. There is no answer. The ducks have grown silent, though they still swim freely in little circles around the boat. The wind picks up. On the starboard side, an open Coleman cooler blows over. Ice and Budweiser cascade into the water, drifting in between the ducks. A battery-powered radio is out on the deck, and it is playing. Yet no music is heard to the ears of those so witnessing. Chris rolls up to the end of the dock Vulcan parks his chair. He tries fishing, though concludes nothing will take the bait. We remain and wait, praying, hoping, feeling powerful waves of emotions we would rather not address. We try to change the subject. Danny talks excitedly about a new game of his until Kevin falls asleep in his chair. Wayne waxes philosophic about ancient history to Bry, Ski, and Jack Key. Dave lights a strip of firecrackers and tosses them at me. Boom, 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 boom. Just then, we thought we heard someone pull up out front, tires skidding into dirt. We run up the walk to catch a glimpse of who it was. 'Twas a red Ford pickup. The engine still running. Pubs, said Dominic, is that you? He got up fast and ran headlong towards it. But by the time he got there, it was gone. No sign of where it went or how it left. The tracks ended there. We remain hopeful, staring up at the stars, looking for a sign, waiting for him to come home. May we not be alone. May he forever be standing beside us, cracking wise and working intently on his next project. We will never forget the joy that you have brought us. Goddamn. That's why I like to do it live. Well, you know what? Do it live, I can't edit myself. I can't edit the facts out of life. Shit happens. People pass away. And you gotta either move on or just fall into a hole and die. Shit. That was a little heavy, wasn't it? Don't worry, though. We'll get things moving again. You know? So I'm going to go to my new story, or rather, my new novel that I've been writing. Very nice. It started as a short story, turned into a novelette, then a novella, and now I'm reaching towards the threshold for it to be a novel. It's at 41,000 words now, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's a story about a prison guard in hell, and he's watching over the prison where there's all the worst serial killers, you know, a couple spree killers, a couple novelty characters thrown in there here and there, and he's got to watch over the prison and kind of manage it. And like the administration, there are these super demon overlords that are like up at the top, and the warden, they like send him messages through like a tube system. Like they send him memos all the time and tell him what to do. And it's a crazy concept. And I figured I'd like to use some of my serial killer knowledge and just that morbid curiosity that I have for the whole subject, especially lesser known serial killers. And with this, it's called Judge, Umpire, and Executioner. The third act is going to be this big softball game between the men and the women prisons. And so I've got the chance to be educated on female serial killers. There's not a lot. Most of them are either like historical figures or like baby killers, kind of nurses that do that shit, kill a whole fucking bunch of babies and think they're cool. Fuck that. So now they're going to be in hell, and they're going to be playing ball against each other. And the fucking demons, the denizens of hell, are placing their bets. They've got gambling fever. All right. Isn't that fun? sick. This is a sick story. It's about prison, so of course there's going to be prison shit. Prison sex, prison violence, all that shit. I love it. It's fun. It's not fun when you're in jail. Been there, done that. Not great. But it's interesting. So this is the new book. This is Judge, Umpire, and Executioner. Monday, March 17th, 2025. What is justice? I ask myself this all the time. I used to think I had a good handle on it. What it was, what it all meant. And that I was doing a fine job at administering it. Hell, I spent 30 years watching crooks and con men live and die at Sing Sing. How's that? That's better. Okay. That kind of a job takes a toll on a man. It certainly took its toll on me, one Mr. Clifford Evan Ormsby. And that's why I'm here, really. But what is here? That I am not entirely sure of. I believe it is something resembling what good Christian folks would call hell. And I, a man tasked to watch over murderers and rapists, have found myself eternally doomed to this cesspit of madness and insanity. So, what are my crimes? That I'm not entirely sure of. I believe it is something resembling what good Christian folk... Oh, fuck. As you can imagine, I am not a man who is charged with anything in life. I had killed more than one soul as a guard and later as a state executioner. It was not the job I wanted, per se, but my superiors decided I had the character and professionalism to do just that. My crimes were not that of the state nor the federal system. No, my crime was of the soul. My crime was wrath. So what? Those people deserved it. They deserved everything they received by my hand and by their fellow inmates. I remember during a riot back in 1947, a sex offender was set upon by three scoundrels in league with one another. They wanted a bit of action, and I let them have it. I let them rape and kill the poor bastard with a pair of pinking shears and a sharpened piece of chapel pew before I moved in with my justice. And what was my justice? It was the business end of a shotgun. A shell for each of them, including the victim. Boom, boom, boom. Nobody gave a rat's ass that I splattered their brains and guts all over Block D2. It was four less degenerates to worry about. I didn't even get written up for it. Not that I ever got in trouble. Fact of the matter was that my co-works were even worse than I was, as so far as the application of additional backroom prison justice went. So where are they now? I have no idea. This prison, it is a desolate, lonely place. The only souls I observe with thine eyes are the convicts. I receive notes that arrive in a cylinder through a network of tubes that end in my office. When I complete my daily tower of paperwork, I send it back over to the demons up top. Or maybe this is all my own personal nightmare. Why else would I end up with all these mutants? They are monsters who have all given up the ghost. Most were to the hand of capital punishment. Others, like Mr. Jeffrey Dahmer, were killed or died by other means. I once told Mr. Dahmer that the man who killed him in the shower should have been given a goddamn medal. To which he shrugged and said, "Yeah, you're probably right." Mr. Dahmer's presence was a reflection of just how long I have been here in service, and there's still an entire eternity to go. Why was I chosen to watch over such an awful collection of miscreants? I asked myself this every day, beating my brains out. I came to the conclusion that the good Lord must have a real funny sense of humor. Why else would he squirrel me away with the worst killers my country had ever borne witness to? Was it because I was so good at keeping these scum suckers in line? No. If I couldn't keep them from butchering each other in life, why would death be any different? This stream of consciousness rambling goes on in my mind all the time. I ask too many questions that cannot be answered while struggling to maintain my concentration in the gloom. Perhaps that is why I am here, to torture myself for the rest of forever while these sons of bitches get to live out their depraved fantasies on one another. I wish there were more guards around to help. As soon as I pull H.H. Holmes off of Manson, Albert Fish is playing grab-ass with the Sacramento Vampire. And by grab-ass, I mean that he would chop off the ass, then grab it, stick his dick in it, before devouring it with a light dusting of rat poison. I wish those up top, would bring in a public relations team. That way they could perhaps find a method to sterilize the daily routine around here with their euphemisms and marketing angles. It's not a house of horror. Nah. It's an establishment for the examination and study of brutality for the betterment of society as a whole. Although I will admit that this place lacks that true sense of institutionality, it lacks everything except for the cells, the souls, and a few bare departments. I am the caretaker. I am the executioner. I am the iron fist of retribution. My job is to make sure everything runs as smoothly as possible. Of course, it runs about as smoothly as a choleric bowel movement. It doesn't get any easier either. In fact, I believe it has been getting worse. It really doesn't help that the longer I remain here, the more of a connection I establish between me and some of the worst human beings who have ever exploded headfirst screaming out of a womb. So what does that mean? It means that I am softening. It means that I have found myself forging a bond. Not that it doesn't help. It's always good to have a few of the cons ready to get things off their chests. Not good for the psyche, but good for the management of the prison populace. I feel bad that I feel bad for a number of these vile dung heaps. But that was what happened when I was alive. And at Sing Sing, what I sowed in life I continued to reap after death. And what a death it was! The bastards got me while I was transporting them to the Reverend for some light Bible study. Looking back, I now realize the only reason they were so enthusiastic about redemption was so that they could make plans and trade hidden rectal contraband during the interminably long-winded church service. The last thing I remember before death was Father Bigliacco kneeling down over me, making the sign of the cross. It gave me strength, though now I have access to the records. I know that the Padre was just as evil as any of the other men sent to rot there. He was a child molester, a thief, and a liar. His blessing was, in fact, a final desecration. So why isn't he down here? The Lord works in mysterious ways, My hope is that he, in fact, is getting his comeuppance tenfold. But who's to say what should and shouldn't happen? All I know really is what they tell me in the memos. In the notes, it always says for me to remain objective and professional, which I find is easier said than done. If I submitted to my basest instincts, I would go to every one of these cells and torture each prisoner until there was nothing left to torture. Make them all fall into dust and ash, separate their bodies piece by piece, bit by bit, cell by fucking cell. I'm getting carried away with myself. The memos tell me not to. They tell me it will poison my soul, and if I got past a certain point, I will become incarcerated in the same manner as they. I'm already in here. Does it really matter which side of the bars I'm on? Yes. Yes, it does. Good gravy. These foul memories dawn upon me at the worst of times. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because I'm obsessive. But I remember the smell of the Rosenbergs as they cooked in Old Sparky. And it seems odd that they are nowhere to be found down here. Then again, this place is purpose-built for killers. Spies are a whole nother breed. My business is not to determine whether or not someone is guilty of treason. Lousy fucking turncoats. My business is to maintain the status quo and to keep everyone from making each other's afterlives more miserable than they already are. That sickly sweet smell of Julius and Ethel, it follows me. It follows me past the feces and piss and the hanging miasma of cheap moisturizing lotion. Everyone here is dead, but they sure use the toilet an awful lot. Shit out enough of your sins and you will become a new man, perhaps. I don't know. What I do know is that my sanity is being tested. What can a man do to stay alive in a position like this without fraternizing with the enemy? There's only so much you could say to them. People like Ted Bundy. Oh, he's friendly enough when he wants to be. He makes you almost think that he might be normal, but he's not. Nobody here is. Not me, not that dead rat stinking up the kitchen, not the fly larva perpetually eating away at Richard Ramirez's foot. Everything here is in a state of decay. Even the concrete is rotting away. I know how strange that sounds. But if you'd like, utilize dream logic for what transpires behind these walls. Just because something did or is happening doesn't mean it hasn't happened. But it doesn't mean that it won't happen either. We watch movies sometimes. I had to ban Inception. It was too much for the inmates to handle. Too much for me to handle. Lately, we've been moving through a library of 90s romantic comedies. Personally, I'd rather be watching Doris Day do the Lindy Hop with Rock Hudson's pecker. Never you mind that he died of AIDS. When I was still alive, he was all man. Straight as an arrow. Maybe I am intolerant. But you would be too if you had to see what goes on around here. Especially after hours. I do not think I have a concept of what healthy sex is anymore. All I know is the power grab, the brutality, the manipulation, the violence. There is no love here, and there was little love in my heart before death. I don't blame my wife for leaving me. She said I was married to my job, not to her. I cleaned her clock and she shot me with a .22. I survived, but I never saw her again. I didn't want to, not even to save face with my parents. They never gave a crap about me anyway. Whatever happened to them, my folks? Hopefully they are in their own version of whatever this fucking shit is. But their hell would be more like them trapped together on the couch without a means to get up, surrounded by foreigners speaking broken English to them, talking over the TV. They hated each other. I hate people like that. People who can't come to terms with who they really are. Boy, howdy, have I been coming to terms with a lot. There's not much else to do here except make my rounds, pull people off one another, serve food, make repairs, and whatnot. I said to myself I would not get sucked into their drama, but that is exactly the opposite of what happened. All the prisoners are kept apart from one another except in certain situations. There are little communal events. The folks at the top stress that they are necessary. I am not sure why. Wouldn't it be better off to simply leave them where they're at? That way no one would be able to cause much trouble. But no, I have to corral them one at a time to the great hall, then I can't cuff them to their chairs. They still find ways to get into trouble, to get away from me and do the unthinkable. I tell myself not to warm up to them. It is becoming increasingly difficult as they are my only human interaction. Don't get soft. This was a message from the memos. It was typed out on nearly all of them. Was it the devil who was telling me this? Was it God? It was neither. It was the warden. I taped a few of the better pictures up in my office wall. It reminds me of who these people are and what the essence of their being is. I find myself staring into the yellow eyes of a French circus clown for hours on end. Eventually, I can't stand it. I rise from my creaky chair and tear the thing down. I throw it in the trash and spit on it. For a moment there, I almost felt bad for it. This is exactly why this job is so dangerous. Would I become one of them in time? Or was I one of them already? I bet that's why it hurts so much. I'm teetering on the edge between law and disorder, pacifism and bloodlust. If only those up top subjected me to a psychological battery of tests, they would quickly determine how far I progressed on the criminal spectrum. I took out a load of books on psychoanalysis from the library. I read them but wasn't able to wrap my head around all of it. The pages I really needed had been torn out and used as cigarette rolling papers. Where were they getting all of this contraband? I certainly wasn't bringing it in. But I wouldn't be surprised either if this was all an experiment to see what it would take to break me. This building is a microscopic hut as well as a gargantuan, sprawling complex. It shifts and contorts with the passage of time. I am still discovering new rooms and wings. They are revealed to me when the situation calls for it. I dare not question my superiors, although I am privately. This little document is for me. It is for my understanding of what is happening. For I am in the dark as the rest of these loathsome rats, these roustabouts and roaches. That is the beginning of Judge, Umpire, and Executioner. I am looking forward to seeing what happens with that shit. That fucking thing's gonna have a big trigger warning all over it. If you are sensitive or you are easily offended, don't fucking read this book. In fact, you probably shouldn't be tuning in to this goddamn podcast too, because I'm not gonna pull any punches. I'm gonna talk about the shit that needs to be talked about. What's this? A little bit of weed. Yeah, there we go. White Fire 5 from Loud. Yeah. It might be backwards on Instagram. Don't worry. Just look at it in a mirror and say red rum 3 times. This one is really nice. I like the White Fire 5 and from Loud. And then there's this one. It's called Biscotti. It's really good. That's also from Loud. get that at Cinder Spokane, downtown Spokane, Washington. Legal weed. Legal weed. It's the only reason I'm doing as well as I am now, because I'm not getting in trouble trying to buy weed, getting messed up with a bunch of goddamn drug dealers, you know. Nobody's blowing up my mailbox anymore. You motherfucker. You motherfucker who blew up my mailbox. I never got revenge on that, but you know what? This is my revenge. Going online and doing all this shit. And then exposing myself to the world. Don't worry, not this, but, you know, the inside stuff. Very nice. Yes. So there should be a new poem on Headline Poetry come Sunday. They come out with a new edition every Sunday. And, oh yeah, Election Day is coming up, so you better fucking go and vote. The ballots came in Spokane this week, so I've got that stuff out. There's a ton of shit to vote on in fucking legalese that I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I gotta look it up or something. It's like they don't write this stuff in English. They write it in political speak, lawyer speak. That way, you have no idea what the fuck you're voting for. And then sometimes you think you're saying yes to something, but you're actually saying no. That's how they fuck you up, you know? And they're going to keep fucking you up. Throwing all these little curveballs that you're going to have to deal with. Mother of God. What else is coming up? Oh, there's a couple poetry events going on this weekend. And then, oh yeah, next week is a event over at Broken Mike, Nito Burrito. I'm going to go there and see Mark Anderson's featuring. That'll be cool. Yeah, they closed down the one of my favorite venues, the Bartlett. Well, they're closing it down. And I kind of missed the last poetry slam they had there. And it just, I get, the way shit comes in on my timeline, I'll get stuff. I'll see it like 2 days later, like, don't miss this tonight. Last chance to fucking come here before it's over. And then I miss it. And then I think to myself, what the fuck? But what are you going to do? The world keeps changing. You got to adapt to the changes. Keep moving. Keep growing, you know. And that's the only way shit's going to get better. But shit is getting better. And I got a new page on the app program TikTok. I put up a couple of videos yesterday, and I got like 250 views on my, like the first minute of my performance from like Manzoni in the morning and the one at the Lilac, or the North Idaho Lit Crawl. So that's interesting, because I was like wondering what the hell happened to everybody, because there was like tons of activity going on every time I'd post something like a year or two ago, and then it kind of like started, I don't know, it started kind of drying out. And I think it has something to deal with like Facebook and Instagram, or Instagram's becoming more like Facebook, whereas before people were like liking a lot more posts from people they didn't know, and now like Instagram's kind of more for your friends, like Facebook is like now your family fucking app. Come to Twitter if you want to hear the real shit, because I post stuff that I don't feel comfortable posting on Facebook, because people will be like, oh, people mince fucking words. They want to go in and they just like, oh, well, what about this? What about this meaningless detail? Fuck you, and fuck you. People who random ass motherfuckers who just comment on people's pages, just saying negative shit and just being annoying, going to an artist page and being like, you know, you need to stop what you're doing and do this right now. It's like, well, all I do is paint. Well, you need to get into this other thing. And then there's the type of people who say, you know what you need to do with your page? No, I don't fucking want to know what you think I need to do. I'm doing fine by myself. Well, good enough. I'm not making $1 million. But if you go and listen to this podcast on Anchor, my Anchor page, I get 1 cent per view of the sponsored episodes. Yes, it's got a commercial in it. Well, that's what I gotta fucking do to fucking do anything. Like, I'm not really making anything right now, but I'm hoping that in the future it will be a viable source of income. The only way to do that is to keep moving, keep writing, keep fucking being crazy. And, oh yeah, this week I was working on a segment for this upcoming TV pilot from my buddy Jeff Mooring, who used to be on the show ABC Sports Night, and some of his buddies. They're putting together this show called Futurecast, and it's like news from the future. And I recorded a segment for like a 2-minute bit at the end of the pilot episode, and I'm playing this character that Jeff came up with. It's the Prophet, and he is like fucking David Koresh and fucking Manson and all them cult motherfuckers rolled into one with a little bit of Alex style. And when the preacher is preaching without talking like this, and the Lord said to me, no, it's Alex. It's like, so hopefully Netflix, Hulu, fucking all the other ones, Amazon, pick this show up. Come on, you get a lot more of this. Hey, how you doing? And I'll do a lot more bits. Like I wrote one bit, and then I did a couple more. So I already got like the first 4 of them kind of worked out, and got a couple different costumes, bathrobe and a hat, and then necklaces and all kinds of shit. We got more and more shit. Gonna put it on. Put some shit on. America. Putting some shit on. But this is gonna be a good show, I think. I think it's gonna be good. Whoops. I want to give people the impression of what the fuck this guy is. You got this. I love this little thing. Welcome, humans. I am your new prophet, your new God, God of the universe, God of the underground, God of the sewer system, the ocean, and your McDonald's. The prophet has come, and he wants you to have a little bit of Kool-Aid. I made it for you. I hope you enjoy it. All right. So, remember, this body will be a corpse. Remember, keep your head up. And don't let people fuck you. Unless you want to be fucked. Yeah, that's right. So I'm hoping that I'll be doing more podcasts in the future. I think I will. And I'm going to keep writing poetry. Going to keep working on this story. Every day I am up working on the story. Oh, come November 1st, it's the end of my 365-day writing challenge. Woo! Woo! Hoo, 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 hoo. That's going to be great. I can't believe it's almost been a whole year. Just getting up and then writing. I turn it into I had to make it into such a routine that if I try to deviate from that routine, I start going fucking crazy, fucking nuts. Got to keep moving forward. Got to keep doing it. This is Manzoni from Manzoni in the Morning, signing off. Fucker, yeah. Read, write, do it all, and don't let anybody give you shit.